Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the constant pressure to be happy, successful, or liked by everyone? Have you ever spent sleepless nights worrying about things that, in the grand scheme of life, don't even matter? If you're nodding right now, then The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK by Mark Manson is the book that will completely shift your perspective on life. Mark Manson's book isn't about being indifferent or careless. It's about understanding that we only have a limited number of things we can truly care about, and we need to choose them wisely. Most of us waste so much time worrying about things that don't serve us, what others think of us, chasing perfection, or comparing ourselves to people on social media. But when we learn to let go of the unnecessary and focus on what truly matters, life becomes much more fulfilling. One of the first lessons in the book is embracing struggles instead of running from them. We often think happiness comes from avoiding pain, but Manson argues that true happiness comes from solving meaningful problems. Think about it. Some of the most fulfilling moments in life come after challenges. Whether it's getting a degree, starting a business, or improving a relationship, the struggle is what makes the outcome meaningful. I remember when I first started a business. I was terrified of failing. I was afraid of what people would say if I failed. But as I kept going, I realized that worrying about others' opinions was holding me back more than the actual challenges of the business. The moment I stopped giving a FCK about their judgments and focused on building something meaningful, I felt free. And guess what? Success followed naturally. Manson also introduces the idea of the feedback loop from hell, where we feel bad about feeling bad, which only makes things worse. Have you ever been anxious and then you get anxious about being anxious? Or you feel guilty about feeling guilty? It's a never-ending cycle. The truth is, life is messy. We all have moments of self-doubt, fear, and sadness. The key is to accept those emotions rather than resist them. The more we fight against our feelings, the more power we give them. Another powerful concept in the book is the importance of choosing the right problems. Most people think they want an easy life with no struggles, but the truth is, we all need problems to solve. The question is, are you choosing meaningful problems? Are you choosing problems that align with your values? Or are you just following what society tells you to care about? Take social media, for example. We see people showing off their perfect vacations, relationships, and careers, and we start feeling inadequate. But instead of getting caught up in that illusion, Manson encourages us to ask, is this really the problem I want to focus on? Do I actually care about impressing strangers online? Or do I care more about building real, meaningful relationships in my life? One of the most liberating lessons in this book is learning to accept that we're not special. Now, that might sound harsh, but hear me out. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need to be extraordinary. We need to have the best careers, the most followers, and the most luxurious lifestyles. But the truth is, most of us are average. And that's okay. The pressure to be exceptional is what makes people miserable. Instead of trying to be the best at everything, focus on what actually matters to you. Being content with an average life that aligns with your values is far better than being miserable in the pursuit of someone else's idea of success. I had a friend who spent years chasing a high-paying corporate job because society told him it was the right thing to do. But deep down, he hated it. He was stressed, exhausted, and unfulfilled. Eventually, he quit and started working in a field he actually loved, even though it paid less. And guess what? He was happier than ever because he stopped giving a FCK about what society expected and started living life on his own terms. Manson also talks about failure as a stepping stone, not a dead end. We live in a world where failure is seen as something to be ashamed of, but in reality, failure is a sign of growth. The most successful people in the world failed countless times before they succeeded. Think about Thomas Edison. He failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Imagine if he had given up after the 500th failure. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is that successful people are willing to keep failing until they get it right. They don't give a FCK about looking foolish or making mistakes because they know that's part of the journey. One of my favorite concepts in the book is the power of saying no. Most people say yes to things they don't want to do because they're afraid of disappointing others. But every time you say yes to something you don't care about, you're saying no to something that actually matters. Learning to set boundaries and protect your time is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Manson also emphasizes the importance of taking responsibility for your life. A lot of people blame their circumstances, their past, or other people for their problems. But the moment you take ownership of your life, everything changes. Even if something isn't your fault, taking responsibility for how you respond gives you power. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react. There was a time when I blamed my failures on external factors, bad luck, unfair bosses, the economy. But the moment I accepted that I was the one in control of my decisions, I started making changes. I improved my skills, made better choices, and took risks that actually paid off. That shift in mindset made all the difference. And finally, Manson reminds us that death is the ultimate motivator. That might sound dark, but think about it. If you knew you had only a year to live, what would you stop caring about? Would you still worry about what some random person thinks about you? Would you still stay in a job you hate? Would you still let fear stop you from chasing your dreams? The reality is we don't have forever. The more we embrace that fact, the more we start living with purpose. Instead of wasting time on meaningless worries, we start focusing on what truly matters: relationships, experiences, and personal growth. So, what are you giving too many F***ck's about? What's holding you back from living the life you truly want? The moment you start choosing what to care about and what to let go of, everything changes. If this audiobook resonated with you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Loser to Legend. Let's build a life that actually matters. Drop a comment below. What's one thing you're going to stop giving a F***ck about today?